Hey guys, welcome back to an episode of Life with Linda. So tonight I'm going to make meatloaf for you guys. Now I really want to show you this recipe because it's my own recipe that I got my meatloaf recipe from my mom, who is a comfort homemaker, like she just made comfort food. And her meatloaf is one that I absolutely love, but I did tweak it a little bit. And I'll tell you how I got the idea. I make a lot of, burgers out of chopped meat, obviously. I use 80-20, and that's 80% fat, 20%, I guess not, right? And I make a lot of burgers, and my husband always says, sometimes it's dry and, whatever. So I've been tweaking like recipes, and what I discovered during the summertime is that I put a little water and butter in my chopped meat mix now. I do it for burgers, I do it for meatballs, and I do it for meatloaf. And it just makes it so moist. My mother always put a lot of water in her meatloaf, always. So her meatloaf was very, very moist, very. And that's what she always did. She always put water. So I always do the water, but now I put a little butter in it. It makes a world of difference. It just keeps the meat so moist and delicious. So I want to show you how I do this today, okay? All right, let's get started. All right, right here I got a pound. No, this is like 2.5 pounds of ground beef, 80-20, okay? I think 80-20 is the best. It has the most fat in it. If you're not watching your fat intake or whatever, it just gives you the most moisture. You can do the other one, 70, 75, 25, whatever. Just put the butter and the water in, and it should come out really moist as well. So you use whatever you like. This is what I like to use. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put salt, of course, to taste. Now, when I'm making my meatloaf, when I'm making my meatballs, I put grated cheese in my chopped meat mixture, and some other seasonings that go more with like gravy, like oregano and stuff like that. But with meatloaf, I don't do that. I put salt and pepper. Okay. Onion powder. You know how that goes with me. That's the oven heating up. Garlic. And some people say to me, oh God, you put so much seasoning in. You know what? Whatever you think you put in a little bit more. Because it soaks up all the flavors, and you really, need to put a nice little dollop in there of garlic and onion powder. Okay, salt and pepper and garlic powder I put in. Now, I put parsley in. I like it in my meatloaf. Parsley is a very big staple in my house. I use a lot of parsley. As you can see, I buy the big parsley. Parsley. It just gives it color, some flavor, and I just like it. And in my meatloaf, I put a little bit of Italian seasoning just for an extra little bite. Hey. Those are the dogs, as I told you earlier. This is what I like to do. Hey, excuse me, 1 minute, guys. Hey, stop it. Okay, so, sorry. So I put Italian dressing, parsley, salt and pepper, garlic powder, and onion powder. And I do have grated cheese here, but I'm not going to put it in. Sometimes I will put a little grated cheese in my meatloaf, or I'll put some mozzarella, like shredded mozzarella in there. So when you slice it, you have mozzarella cheese in there. It's really, really good too, guys. Okay, so I'm just using my own judgment as how much I'm putting in. I'm going to do 1 egg for now. Okay. 1 egg to hold it together. Oh, and breadcrumbs. Where are my breadcrumbs? Oh my goodness. Hey, cool it. They're crazy. They're absolutely crazy. Some breadcrumbs. And these are seasoned Italian breadcrumbs. Okay? Okay. Now, as far as the water goes, I just keep putting water in and do it consistently. Okay, so now I'm going to put the water in. Now, what I would do with the water, as I was saying, is I put some in and I mix it and I see how wet it is. And if it's not wet enough, then I add more water. That's how I do it. Okay, so I'm just going to add couple of spurts of water here. Okay, I got everything in. Everything is in here except the butter. I'm going to put that in last. So what I do is I use my hands and I use a spoon. First, I use a spoon because it's just easier to mix everything up with a spoon. Okay, mix the spoon. And in the meantime, I have my my oven preheating to 375. All right. You know what I do, which is weird, guys? I don't know if anybody else does this. Because when I make meatballs, I'll make a little meatball and I'll taste it. I'll fry it like you know before I make all the other meatballs. But with meatloaf, I don't do that. Maybe I should do that, but I don't. But what I do is I smell the meat. Isn't that weird? And if it smells really good, like if it has a nice smell to it, then I know I have enough seasoning to it. That's just my own thing. I mean, who knows? You know, but that's just my own thing. So I'm mixing it up now. Definitely going to need more water. Okay, see? More water. And I always feel like when I put more water in it, for some reason I need a little seasoning. Excuse me, guys. The puppy is Cooper playing with his bowl. No, Cooper. No, go get one of your toys. They're like toddlers. He has so many toys, but he finds something on the floor, a Tupperware, that actually he had his food in, and he was playing with it. It drives me crazy. So anyway, every time I put more water in it, I feel like I need to put a little bit more seasoning in it, because I feel like the water drowns out the seasoning. I don't know if that's so true, but it's just something like a fetish that I have. So it's starting to get a little moist now, how I like it. But believe it or not, I put a lot of water in, but I think it needs a little bit more water. The moister, the better, guys. All right. I'm going to put a little bit more salt. Just a little. Not too much salt, because you can't take salt out. A little more pepper. A little more onion powder. A little more garlic powder. Seasonings, these kind of seasonings can't hurt. A little bit more Italian dressing. Italian seasoning. Italian dressing. Oh, maybe that would be good in meatloaf. Who knows, right? A little bit more parsley. Like I said, if you want to put grated cheese in here, that's fine. It doesn't mean it's going to be a meatball, but it does give it flavor. But I put enough salt in, so I don't want to put any more grated. I don't want to put grated cheese because it might make it a little salty. All right. So this kind of feels really good right now. I'm going to give it a mix with my hands, only because I want to feel them wet. I want to feel if it's wet enough. Okay. Just brings back memories, this meatloaf. My mom. I think a little bit more water. My mother used to make such good comfort food. Oh, God, the gravy and the meatloaf. And I remember her making fried chicken cutlets and mashed potatoes with gravy and just all kinds of comfort food. Being Italian, that's what Italians do. You know, everything is comfort, comfort, comfort. And you have a lot of food when you're Italian. All right, I think that's good, guys. I really do. I think that's really good. Now, the smell test. Yeah, it smells good. It smells like it has enough seasoning in it. Okay. Okay, so I think that's really good. Okay, so here's my pan. Now, a lot of people put their meatloaf in loaf pans. My mom never did that. She always put it in a regular baking dish, and you're going to see what it looks like. It looks a little funny, but it comes out really, really good. Put a little, just a little bit of olive oil on the bottom of the pan for flavor. Now, I'm going to make brown gravy with mine, but my mother used to make a little tomato sauce with it and put the tomato sauce over it. Try meatloaf like that. It's so good. I prefer it that way, but my hubby and the family likes the brown gravy, so I do that. But try it with tomato sauce. Oh, it's so delicious. Okay, now this is what I do. Whoop! Plop it right in, and I make like a dome. Pop it in the pan. Now it's going to look funny, and you're going to think it's going to spread out. It doesn't. It spreads out a little bit, but it comes really, you know, it's good. Okay, just do that with your hands like this. I love meatloaf sandwiches, like later on that night after you eat your dinner, or later on, you know, the next day for lunch. I send my husband with meatloaf sandwiches with mayonnaise and a little salt and pepper. So good, guys. Okay, so this is the meatloaf formed. Okay, just get it all together like that. Okay. Make sure it's no holes in it or anything. And this is what it looks like. Okay, now I'm going to put it in the oven for at 375. It'll probably cook like 40-45 minutes. Again, I'll let you know when it's done how long it really cooked, because, you know, I put it in, and a lot of times I don't pay attention, but I just kind of know when it's done. But I'll make sure that I you know, time it and make sure so I can give you guys the right, you know, directions. Okay, so I'm going to put it in the oven, and then I'm going to show you when the meal's all done. Okay? Hi, guys. I got so distracted before when I was doing the beginning of the video with the meatloaf, because of this, my puppy running around driving me crazy on the side here. I forgot to put the butter in the meatloaf. The main ingredient, I forgot. But even though it's cooked a little bit, it's not too late. I can still do it. I'm just going to do it another way. And I wanted to show you guys that you can adapt. If you forget something, there's always something you can do. And this is what I'm going to do. Okay, I'm going to take the butter, and I'm going to put a couple of pieces here and there. And because the meatloaf is still very, very soft, but it's formed, I'm going to be able just to shove the butter in. Now, this is a lot of butter. Yeah, it's a big meatloaf. Okay, so if you like, again, if you're watching your weight, don't use butter, just use more water. That's all I can say about that. Okay, guys? Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shove it. I'm going to shove it in with my finger, because it's not that hot, so I can do that. Just shove it in. Okay? Make a little hole and stuff it in. And what's going to happen is all of the butter is going to seep down into the meatloaf. Okay? So I can fix it. Thank God, because that's the main thing. I would have been so upset. Okay, so I'm shoving the butter in. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get my hands a little dirty. I don't care. It's a little hot. I'm just going to form the meatloaf again. Just put it together so it doesn't fall apart. And the butter's in, and the butter will seep down. And now I'll have the butter in it. Okay, so we saved it. I saved it before it was too late. The puppy is driving me crazy. You have no idea what he just did. Took out a box of tissues. He took napkins off my table in my living room. Broke my napkin holder. It's the second one. He's crazy, guys. Absolutely crazy. But no fail. The butter's in, and I'm going to let it go back in the oven now. So I'll be back. All right, guys. I'm back. So the meatloaf took 45 minutes at 375, and it's perfect. I let it cool off a little bit, and I'm going to cut it for you now and make a plate for you of what we're having tonight, okay? Let's go. A little 1 second. Let me just get a little spatula, of course. I've got a spatula. All right. This is what it looks like. Okay? Now, there's a lot of fat in here. You could just dip that fat out. You don't have to take that back. Okay, so I'm going to cut it. Can you see? We like a little bit thick. Not too thick, but not too thin either. This would feed probably like 4 people. 4 or 5 people if they're low hitters. If they're heavy hitters, 4 people probably. 3 or 4 people. You just do some slices. And I can feel it's really moist. Okay, now that's cut. Okay, I'm going to plate it now. This is going to be my daughter's plate, so I'm going to plate hers. She loves meatloaf, so I'm going to give her, Jennifer, I'm going to give her a piece of meatloaf and a half. Okay, I made, now quickly in the microwave tonight, I made canned vegetables. I'm not embarrassed to say, sometimes I do that. I don't always make fresh. You can't always do it. It's quick dinner, quick, easy dinner. String beans and corn. I put it in the microwave with some salt and pepper and butter. Okay, I'm gonna give her a little bit of string beans. Just a little, she's not too crazy about them. And a little bit of corn. Now, what I also made, guys, is I made this tonight. Knorr's fettuccine noodles. They're so good, they're so cheap, and they're so fast. Like I said, I'm not embarrassed. I can't always make homemade fettuccine or whatever. This is a weeknight meal, quick, cheap, and easy. So I made 2 of these, and I also made 2 of these gravy packets. You add 1 cup of water. I put salt and pepper and garlic powder in it. Let it cook a couple of minutes, and it's done. That's a weeknight meal. Meatloaf gravy and fettuccine noodles. Okay, now Jennifer loves these noodles, so I'm going to give her a nice amount. Okay, fettuccine. Like that. And I'm going to put, here's a little bit of the brown gravy. Shut the flame off here. Okay, here's the brown gravy. Okay. She doesn't like a lot of gravy, so I'm just going to put a little bit of gravy on her meatloaf and not on her noodles. Usually I make mashed potatoes with this, which is really ideal with meatloaf, but I didn't make it tonight. But there you go. This is what's for dinner tonight, guys. Meatloaf, meatloaf, fettuccine noodles, corn, and string beans. That's what's for dinner tonight. I hope you guys really try this meatloaf. It's really delicious with the butter and the extra water. It comes out so moist. I hope you enjoy it. Like, hit the thumbs up button if you like this video. Share and hit the notification button. Sorry, brain freeze. Hit the notification button on the bottom if you like to see when I have a new video out. And I hope you enjoyed this video. So I'll see you tomorrow, guys. Bye.